seeing HBK coming out there at the opener was really refreshing to watch. I miss HBK. I miss everything about HBK because this guy really knows how to tell a story. And to know that we all picked him, honestly, we didn't really pick him. We knew he was going to be picked. But regardless of that, him actually coming out for the opener was great. What made it even better for me was seeing Randy Orton coming out and actually seeing the banter between those two. You can literally feel the friction coming off of these guys straight up. I love the tension between these two. I love the back and forth banter with these guys. It really does kind of heighten the tension and makes you more interested on the outcome of the match, because it's not but there's a little gripe that I have about this match coming up. It's not going to be about Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton. It's going to be all about HBK and which side he's going to choose. That's my only gripe that I have about having a special guest referee. But honestly, it does do something for the match. It makes you interested to see the outcome of the match. So I guess I can understand why they did it. But in the middle of that ring on Raw, seeing those guys actually go at it back and forth was really, really awesome for me. And not only that, it led to a match between him and The Miz that was supposed to happen, but The Miz, of course, was so wound up and couldn't stand Randy Orton and went after him. But this is the one thing that really got my mouth to drop. And it was this. When Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family came out during The Miz's match, and of course it caused The Miz to lose, you could literally hear a pin drop when Bray Wyatt was speaking. I have never seen that happen to anyone new in my entire life. You can tell that that's the amount of respect that the crowd has for Bray Wyatt. That's the amount of respect that they have for his character as well as for the Wyatt family as a whole. And seeing that really does amaze me on how important it is to have a character that fits your personality, or at least fits something about you. And it really does make me happy to see that creative did something for Bray Wyatt and actually kind of helped influence the character. Not only that, I tipped my imaginary hat off for Bray Wyatt for the guy, I can't remember his name, but actually for the character of Bray Wyatt, I literally tipped my imaginary hat off to you. Good grief, you really do know how to pull off a psychotic heel well. And this is the first psychotic heel I have seen in a while, and he knows how to pull it off, and he literally brings it. I love it. I love the Wyatt family. I love that character. And it shows that the crowd loved that character too. No chants, nothing. Dead silence. Respect right there. But one of my gripes of the night is the fact that Stephanie McMahon decided to be Triple H's mouthpiece. Why? Triple H can still talk. And that's another gripe. If you have your jaw wired shut after the punch that the Big Show gave you, don't you think you want to play off the injury? Don't you think you kind of want to act like you have a wired jaw? But instead, Triple H just steady talking like it's no problem. So I'm like, okay, if your jaw isn't wired shut, then why is Stephanie even out there? Why is she being your mouthpiece? You're the freaking cerebral assassin. You need to be your own mouthpiece. You've always been your own mouthpiece. You were the freaking voice of DX. What's up? Come on, what's going on, man? Like, seriously. Regardless of that, it was kind of nice to actually see Triple H heated, because when Triple H gets heated, that's when his emotions get high. When his emotions get high, that's when he starts to do these spectacular matches. And I'm hoping now there's going to be a match between him and the Big Show at Hell in a Cell. I am looking forward to that, and I'm hoping that actually does happen, but we'll see. They haven't really set the card up yet. But speaking of card, they're actually doing something for Hell in a Cell. They're literally trying to get people hyped up with these feuds and start up some matches, pretty much leading towards the feuds, trying to heat the feuds up. But the one thing that I loved was the decision to have Beat the Clock on Raw. Like, not only one Beat the Clock match, but two Beat the Clock matches between CM Punk and Ryback. And honestly, I kind of knew the outcome of, I kind of knew who was going to win the Beat the Clock match, but it was nice to actually see that on Raw. It was kind of something new, like a fresh start, to actually see that on Raw after Battleground. But I absolutely kind of like the stipulation. I like the stipulation that they had, but it was so predictable that I really just wasn't like, yay! I was like, yay! Like, I kind of knew it was going to happen, so it really wasn't much of a big deal. The matches in between really were forgettable. Like, the Tons of Funk match, forgettable. Because I'm not really a big fan of the Real Americans anymore, because I think their gimmick is stale and they really need to reinvent themselves. Because you can't really come up with a whole anti-immigrant gimmick if you have a freaking immigrant on your team. But I've already spouted that out off enough, and I'm starting to lose my voice, so I'm not going to rant anymore. But moving on from there, the Divas match was really quite forgettable, and mostly because of the fact it's Tamina versus Brie. Do you really think that Brie had a shot in the dark of winning? No. So let's move on from there. I like the fact that Brie is actually involved in the whole storyline between Randy Orton and Daniel Bryan, because it actually brings a little bit more interest into it. But I really started to notice that as time goes on, Brie might go heel. Brie might go heel. But I don't want her to go heel, because Randy Orton does not need a chick on his arm. He does not need a valet. He does not need a mouthpiece. Because in my humble opinion, that weakens him. And I really think that he's better off being on his own. As for Daniel Bryan, he can deal with the balance, because that's his character. He's better off being a face. He's okay as a heel, but he's better off being a face. But he can go in between and it can work for him. But it can't work for Randy. It'll just make Randy look odd. So I'm hoping she does not go heel. She stays where she is, and she stays engaged. Plus, you have Total Divas is coming out next month, so it doesn't make any sense for her to go heel. Even though I really do feel that, they're leaning in that direction. But they have to wait until the actual series ends before that ever happens. But moving on from there, my highlight of the night, in my humble opinion, was what happened. Oh my gosh, when the Big Show came out and literally just beat the ever-loving crap out of that member of the Shield. I think it was Seth Rollins, but oh my gosh, the fact that he came out of nowhere, just came down from the audience and just cleaned the clock of that member of the Shield was so satisfying. Because it was satisfying for me to see my giant return, to see my giant be a giant. I'm tired of those crocodile tears where I was like, every single night. I was tired of seeing him crying. I wanted my giant back, and I got my giant back, and I'm so happy for it. I really am. And plus, seeing Triple H come out angry really shows me that Triple H just might now have a Hell in a Cell match with the Big Show. I'm hoping it happens. I'm really looking forward to it. But guys, my overall thoughts of the show is this. I think the show was great. I think the show was pretty good, because they actually did do some promotion for the pay-per-view. Even though the matches that were fillers were pretty much forgettable, that's what they were supposed to do. I love what they were doing with Bray Wyatt's character, making him a lot more psychotic and sadistic, trying to build him up for something. And I loved seeing HBK come out in the opener. It was completely refreshing. And also the banter back and forth between Randy Orton, which actually does hype up the possible tension for the WWE Championship match they're going to have in Hell in a Cell. It was all geared towards Hell in a Cell, and that's what it's supposed to do. And it actually kind of made you hyped up for Hell in a Cell, especially John Cena's return for Hell in a Cell. Now, I know everyone's pretty much up in arms about John Cena, and I'm probably going to do a video on that, but that's for a later date. But my overall thoughts of the show is it was pretty good. They did a good job for Hell in a Cell, and I mean, that's pretty much my thoughts on it. But I want to hear y'all's thoughts on it. Leave a comment in the comment section below or send a video response on how you feel that Raw went, and what would you do if Raw didn't go your direction? What would you put in there to make Raw better? It's Nature Girl 30 signing off. Peace out. Later.